Hey YouTube, it's Derek from WCC. This is the first video on this YouTube channel, so I hope you guys enjoy it. I'll be covering Bushiroad Spring Fest 2022 that happened in California, what topped and what won, all three formats, and just the information for you guys for all the coverage on the event. Alright, first things first, I want to give a shout out to Fuzzy Paradox and Ezo Senpai. Fuzzy Paradox has provided amazing pie charts for this video, so I really appreciate it. And to Ezo Senpai, was literally there 2 days and literally got all the information for both myself and Fuzzy to make all these infographics and to spread it out to you guys. So big shout outs for those two. I'll put their Twitter links in the comments below, description below, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Cool. If you guys want to follow me on my socials and stuff, all the links will be in the description, and all the affiliate links for everything that sponsors WCC and myself as a player, it's all going to be down there. Alright, so first things first, the first thing we're going to be covering is Standard in top 8. Alright, so Standard was on day 1 along with V Premium, so we're going to be covering the top 8, what topped, and so on and so forth. So as we can see from the infographic, alright, again, big shout out to Fuzzy, 6 Magnolia, which is the highest represented deck, alright, throughout the whole top cut, alright. So that means 6 out of the 8 teams that topped brought a Magnolia, alright. And then coming in second, 4 Prison, and then 3 Bruces. And then following from that, a combination of 2 Baramagnus, 2 Gravidia, 2 Orphis, 2 Bastion, and then the last 3 decks is 1 Nirvana, 1 Laronarol, and 1 Phantom Blaster Dragon. Alright, you need to make sure that you take these tops with a grain of salt, because apparently there's a few complications with the way Top Cut was handled. I think there were a few teams that failed deck check and stuff like that, and a few technicalities. But yeah, this is the information that we got, and that's what happened, alright? So what can we kind of draw from this? Magnolia is pretty much an instant pick on your team for Spring Fest 2022, especially in the set 4 meta. The deck is insane. Like 6 attacks on grade 4 ride that can hit over damage triggers. You have Gynosalar that can transfer power and stuff, and it just makes your rear guards insanely good against, you know, decks that don't have hand, decks that, you know, fail to generate hand, and that can't really deal with, you know, the presence of a board, right? And then if you're bringing like a second deck onto your composition, Prison is pretty much a fair pick, right? With Prison, it's pretty self-explanatory. Like the way that Prison scales into the late game is just so good. There's nothing you can do to stop it, because pretty much you're trying to get rid of your resources and try to bring stuff back from Prison. It's not going to happen. So Prison being like the second most chosen deck is to be expected for this particular format. So the next deck that kind of rose in popularity is Bruce, which to be honest is really quite surprising, because I feel that in this particular meta you want to bring something that is quick, which kind of leads to the next 2, so Baramagnus and Gravidia. So those 2 decks are really quick, so it's quite interesting to see Bruce more represented, and I think once we get to the next section you'll see that Bruce actually converted really well. And then, you know, a few outliers such as the Orphis, the Laronarol. Laronarol not so much, it just came from the previous meta without any of the lyrical set 2 support. And then the 1 Phantom Blaster Dragon, which is really surprising, a deck that nobody thought would have topped, but you know, it happens. So I guess going into the top 4, so these are your first, second, third, and fourth placing. So the Joy Boys coming first, and their team composition had a Magnolia, a Seraph Snow, and a Bastion. Second place is Showtime with Bruce, Magnolia, and Seraph. Anahu's on third place with Magnolia, Gravidia, and Bruce. Simple Clean in fourth place with Magnolia, Bruce, and Seraph. So as you can see here, every single team brought a Magnolia. So if you're not bringing Magnolia for your Spring Fest, alright, reconsider, okay? The deck is insane, alright? And then the second most popular deck, 3 out of the 4 teams brought Prison. So if your BSF is this weekend or next weekend or any weekend before Lyrical Set 2, alright, I'm pretty sure Magnolia and Prison are the 2 decks that you should definitely bring. And then I think the third slot is kind of the preference based on the player, it seems. So there are 2 Bruces, 1 Gravidia, and 1 Bastion, and which is quite surprising because I would have thought Barrow would have made it to the top 4 just because of how quick it is. But yeah, you know, this is the results that we got, and congratulations to all the teams. And yeah, that covers standard for the top 4. So next we go to V Premium. So do note that V Premium is with the ban list, the new ban list in effect. So it's quite diverse, especially with the different builds that people brought. So from the top end, we have 5 Shadow Paladin with a mixture of Luard and Revengers. And then next is Bermuda Triangle. I think a portion of them brought Highlander, and then the other portion brought Prism. 3 Kagero, which is DX. 3 Genesis, where some of them were actually Himiko and not Astral Poets. 3 Grand Blue, 2 Dark Irregulars with Amon coming from the Clan Collection. 1 Tachikaze, 1 Jewel Knight, 1 Gold Paladin, which is Gurgit, and 1 Aquaforce. And surprisingly enough, the first place team brought the 1 Jewel Knight, and the 1 Jewel Knight converted well. So congratulations to Dad coming first with DOTX in the AC, Jewel Knight in B, and then Night Rose in C. Second place was VVER Vators, or VR Vators, with Astral Poets, Luard, and Amon. Third place was I Don't Know Good Team, and you'll see this name again, I think, in Premium. So this team brought Prism, Himiko, and Luard. So I'm guessing that Himiko would have been Himiko Reverse. And I think we'll see, I think that list was actually shown, and it runs a part of like the Regalia engine as well, which is quite interesting. And then the fourth team, Buddy Fight Reunion with Prism, Luard, and Gurgit. So with the ban list, we can definitely see that the clan distribution is much better. Obviously, you know, Bermuda's still there, and surprisingly, Luard is still there, even with the restriction on Charon. So I think players are trying to find their own little way to kind of play Luard without having to worry about the countercharger. And maybe, like, I guess compensating for a weaker early game for a better late game, and still have, you know, the shenanigans that Luard has, generating force, applying 2 crit to the front row, and still have the Morphesis to play around. Especially you still have the Bis Router and the Bat. So it seems like Luard is still doing well, and you know, those players are adapting quite fine to the ban list. So congratulations to all the teams. And yeah, moving on, this is the banger, all right? So Premium was an absolute insanity, all right? Premium had, I think, 18 unique decks, and I think there were only double ups of like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 6 clans or 7 clans. But the double ups, right, are all like, I guess, different builds. If you look at the bottom end where Grand Blue is, you have your Spike Brothers, and then 3 different builds of Narukami. So I think Mega Colony also had 1 Order Colony and 1 normal Gridora, which is really interesting. So in terms of the clans that have topped, so 3 Kagero, 3 Narukami, 2 Mega Colony, and obviously the 3 Narukami was inclusive of 1 Eradicator, 1 Dungaree, and 1 Vanquisher. So 3 different builds. 2 Mega Colony, 1 was Order Mega Colony, and 1 was G Gridora. And then 2 Pale Moon being Nightmare Doll, and I'm guessing it's the WCC list for Nightmare Doll. 2 Shadow Paladin, 2 Grand Blue, 2 Spike Brothers, one of them being Hellheart 8, and one of them being Rising Greedon. So that's a deck that I think is kind of popping up, and I think I saw it on Proof Court as well. That deck is pretty cool in itself. 1 Dimension Police, 1 Genesis, which is Regalia, 1 Angel Feather, which is NoCL, 1 Royals being Blaster, 1 Golds as Ezel, 1 Nubatama, which is Daihozan with the Dominate package, 1 NLK Barrow Magnus in Dark Irregulars, and 1 Bermuda Triangle Riviere. So this is insane because, you know, as we kind of all come out of that Bushiroad Rumble Online metagame, we really expected to see a lot of Nightmare Dolls, especially with the insane conversion rate that we saw. I think AO being won by a Nightmare Doll, and then NA being won by Nightmare Doll as well. But I think everyone's just kind of shifted away from that and just kind of playing whatever they like. So that's really, really insane. And then just kind of seeing the top 4. So the first team was Strictly Broken. Shout out to Nikki Goldman and Bryant Newen for taking it home. So their team composition was 1 Order Colony, 1 Grand Blue, and 1 Nightmare Doll. And then second place was Carmen Striders, Mad Name, 1 Luard, 1 DOTX, and 1 Dungaree. And apparently this Dungaree went undefeated, which is insane, alright? So props to the Dungaree player. Apparently he went undefeated, and God, alright? Shout out to you, you're an absolute beast, alright? Third place, again, I don't know, good team. We saw this in V Premium and they topped again, alright? Third place with Grand Blue, Regalia, and Nightmare Doll, and then fourth place with an absolutely, you know, off the radar team composition with Dialiner, Riviere, and Ezel. So you can say that it's very open-ended in terms of premium, but obviously there are other factors as well. You know, first regional back, people want to play the decks that they want to play. They're just, you know, there for the fun of it, you know, seeing like different people, and, you know, different regions have different metagames and stuff like that. So I think as Bushiroad Spring Fest progresses, we'll get to see more of a clearer picture of what the meta really is like. Because the way that this distribution is shown for California definitely isn't what I was expecting. I was definitely expecting more. But yeah, this is insane, all right? And it's a great way to kind of see, you know, the real life tournaments coming back and people just really loving and kind of innovating on the decks that they really want to play. And that is pretty much it for the meta coverage for California. I will be doing Antwerp and obviously all the other regions and places coming up in the next coming weeks. I think this weekend will be Antwerp, the next one will be Chicago in Germany, and I think we have a hiatus period, and then I think we're going to continue on, and then all the way till July. So definitely we'll be covering everything. Feel free to follow me on Twitch as well as all my socials. You'll get all the notifications for when I post these videos as well as when I stream. And yeah, that's it for me today. Hit the like button, comment down below what your thoughts are, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.